All right, so just a heads up. So I used some of this generic blue and red thread locker. I used the red, which is the high strength one, and did that last night. It locked right away. And of course, heating it with a torch, it without the torch it wouldn't come off. But when I heated it up with the torch, not much effort, it came right off. So yeah, there's no problem using it to secure your burner cap, or whatever you want to call it, manifold, onto the burn tube. I'm going to go ahead and clean these threads, and I'm going to apply a new coat and re-thread lock this thing so it's fine. I'm going to use it on my other one that is moving around. I got another one that's the same thing. So yeah, that's great news. I got this on Amazon. This is way cheaper than like the name brand ones. And you get a lot. You get a lot of it, and it works great. So yeah, here's the red. Oops, moving things around here. Yeah, it was really inexpensive, and it works just fine. So get this brand, you'll get a ton of it. I remember when I used to buy the blue and it come in like a little tube and it was a couple bucks. This stuff wasn't very expensive at all, and I got a lot of both the red and the blue. So yep. All right, God bless y'all. Take care. All right, status update. So I just been sitting for about 15 minutes shaking dirt out of this thing. I can't believe that all was in there. It's still in there a little bit, and then I got to wash this thing and probably gonna run it through some uric acid. Then I wire brush the bottom, so we got a spot here that's pretty rusted, so we're gonna have to Coswell that area. We'll see how that works out. It should be okay. I've actually got 2 more fonts coming here. I got some for parts. They don't have their top ends, but they've got their founts, and they've got the oh my god, we got their these pieces here. And we'll see when I get them out. They have some light poles on them. They electrified them, but they don't have the burners and stuff on there. So maybe one of those will be just fine, and I could use that as a replacement. But I'm going to glue this one. We're going to fix this one. But I'm going to get this all cleaned up. We're going to wash this. We're going to hit the outside with some really fine steel wool with some WD-40, and see how much we can get it cleaned up. But our burner actually came out looking pretty cool looking. It's pretty cool looking. It does have a cool look to it, I gotta admit. So I would prefer it didn't be busted, but it is what it is. But it does look pretty cool. So there it is. This piece isn't too bad. And then there's that little collar tensioner nut, or whatever you want to call it. And then this thing and the check valve works. So we got it all cleaned up. So we're gonna deal with this, and then we got to make our little replacement piece and get that covered with some paracord. I think it'll look pretty cool. So yeah, that's where we're at right now. Status update. I was kind of hoping to light this thing up today. I didn't know about that rust right there. It is what it is. We'll get it fixed. All right. God bless y'all. Take care. All right, my friends. This is an update. So we're making progress. So I'll fill you in a little bit. We're trying to get this rust off and get this thing cleaned up before we Coswell it. All right, God bless y'all. Take care. All right, status update. So we got the exterior of this thing cleaned up the best we can. It ain't perfect. It's hard to see, but all right, this piece we're not keeping it on there. These 2 pieces we're keeping. I took that, whatever it's made out of, that really early plastic, whatever they called it, Quicklite or whatever it is, and then the metal washer, that's always been cleaned. I'm just going to put this on here. I got to put everything on. I got to measure this. The tube is sitting there too loose, so I got to cut it longer. So that's what I'm going to do, is I'm going to get the tube measured, get it cut, so that it's I can go and prepare the tube, and then I'll just put that on there. This thing I got to buff it just a little bit, the best I can. Got everything. This thing's as clean as this can get, but there's still a little bit of stuff in there that doesn't want to come out. That's like big chunks or something. I'm actually thinking that maybe somebody put dirt in here to weight this thing down when they were using it for a decoration or whatever. I don't know. But I washed it out with water, and first I dumped out the dry dirt the best I could. Then I washed it out with water. I have no idea what this thing looks like on the inside. And there's still like a little bit in there, so I'm going to try to shake it over the best I can, see if I can take a screwdriver and break it up and get out whatever is left in there. And then, like I say, cut that tube, get that tube done, and then we're going to go and clean this up, wipe this thing. I didn't get any WD-40 or anything on the bottom. I only did the upper side. This was just all wire brushed after I scrubbed it with soap and water, but take a little alcohol, wipe it down good, and then I'm going to epoxy it. God willing, it'll work. You know, that one problem with I'm going to have to, that big hole, I'm going to have to put a little bit of, again, a little piece of mesh in there. And then I'll pull up the epoxy. It should be fine. It should work just fine. I'm definitely not putting epoxy on the inside. There's no way. It'll plug up that tube. That tube, I'm not going to do it. So we're just going to live with it. But I'm going to try to bust out whatever is in there. See if I can get whatever else is in there. Get it out, and then we'll go from there. All right. God bless y'all. Take care. All right, so here's where we're at right now. We're gonna measure this thing. Let's see here. Hold on a second here. I gotta turn that a little bit. It's all right. I'll get it later. I can't do it one-handed. Anyway, that's what I'm doing right now. I put a generator in. This is one of the ones that I had bought. It's a new old stock that was sitting in a box for a long time. So it is in there. Gotta straighten things out just a little bit. Anyway, I'll bring you back when I cut that tube. All right, I am making progress. I mean, compared to where we started yesterday, this looks really good. It actually looks really cool. So where are we at right now? So we've repaired the broken air tube, which was bent, and the kink was 90 degrees, and it broke in half when we tried to heat it up cherry red and try to straighten and all that stuff. We cleaned all the parts. So we put a gas generator in here. We reassembled everything. We cut a new tube, which we're going to wrap in paracord with either Elmer's glue. If my daughter will do it, but she's got to do her homework, so I probably use 5-minute epoxy. We've polished the font. We've cleaned this thing. This thing's all dialed in. Valve's all good. We polished the valve. I mean, we cleaned all the parts. We got it out enough dirt to plant a small plant, house plant, out of the font. We've uncovered a flaw. We've got some holes right here, some rust holes, so we're gonna Coswell those from the outside. I'm not doing it from the inside. I don't care what anybody says. That ain't gonna happen. Oh boy, let's see if I can. But I'm gonna use steel mesh, 304 stainless steel mesh, like I did on the other one. Where is it? It's right here. This stuff makes a great patch, and you impregnate it with the epoxy, kind of shove it in there, inject the epoxy, it pulls around it, and then you just let it dry overnight. It kind of drains and pulls a little bit and dries. It works. So that's how I do it. If you put epoxy in this thing, you're going to end up that tube that goes down the center it's got little holes for the fuel to come up, it is going to get plugged up. That's what I understand. And it's like, I'm not, you know, with a regular font, you just have to worry about that snorkel tube. And I just use an aquarium pump to pump air to make sure it doesn't get plugged up. But this thing, it's like, I don't know. Plus, just putting water in this thing, it's hard to get the water out of this thing. I mean, and fuel. You try to dump fuel out of one of these things, it doesn't, especially the other one I have where it's up high. Fuel does not want to come out of these things that easy, and neither is water. So, but anyway, this right here is interesting. So there is no threaded hole here, which is interesting for me. I would think there would be something threaded there for you can put a lampshade. So I'm not sure if that needs to be drilled out a little bit. And I don't know how much meat is there so that you can put one in, or if they put in after the market, or, you know, a different burner thing here. I'm not sure. So we'll figure it out. But anyway. Yep, so that's where we're at. So we're going to go wrap this thing right now. We got to go get some pizza for my son. And like I say, before the night's over, we got to Coswell this thing. And there's still a little bit of stuff in there. So I want to kind of shift it over to the bottom here. Look at the flashlight, see if I can see it. Take a screwdriver and see if I can bust it up and get it out. And then this R55 Roto gas generator, brass doesn't really corrode, but the steel fitting it was a little bit corroded, and I had an experience, and last time I tried using one of these where it was leaking a little bit, so I actually used some of that red Loctite on there, and I already tested because we hit this with a torch and it came right off, so it is not a problem. If I need to get this off, hit it with a torch, it'll come right off, but it's going to seal it. And so this Quicklite piece, we've polished it. The little metal piece under this, we've cleaned all the rust off it. This thing is all clean, so we've made really good progress. I will probably consider drilling that down a little bit and tapping it. I got to look inside there, and it's kind of a bummer, but I've already... I don't think it's a problem because that's an air tube. And like I say, if I thread it, I would put a small, threaded piece coming out of it and seal it. So I don't think it'd be an issue, but it would be nice. I might have to hit it with teat and take it off again and look and see how much meat is there. But that's something I want to do possibly. So, all right. God bless y'all. And we'll come back next time we have a little bit of progress. All right. Take care.